Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Not using my better camera today, but today we're just going to be doing the best of Hulu, and then I might moisturize. I don't think I'm going to do a lot with my face while I'm sitting here, but I did want to get this filmed before we get much farther into September. So this is going to be the best of horror on Hulu right now. I mean, in my opinion, there's a ton on Hulu. I was surprised, but I put down some of my favorites. I've got my list right here. So I'm going to be looking at that. So we're going to get into that. If that sounds interesting, go ahead, please take a moment, hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you. It means a lot to me. And I'm going to be doing these videos every month, I think. Just kind of fun because these streaming services do change up their movies, and there are people out there that like horror like I do. So yeah, so definitely you're going to want to subscribe and stick around for that. So this is Hulu. What's on there right now, because I just went on there and looked, wrote this down for September. So we're going to get into that. I'm going to have to hold the list kind of close because I am a little bit blind. But the first movie I have down is I, Frankenstein. I believe this was on my list of best PG-13 horror movies. I used to have it on DVD. I really like it. The actor is relatively well known. He's part of a famous family. I can't think of his name. He has a bad reputation. So I don't know if that's a factor. Like I said, this was a fairly big budget movie. I remember it going to the theater, and I don't know, it wasn't super well received. I don't know why. Like I said, I think the special effects are really good. There's like vampires and werewolves and gargoyles and Frankenstein character. Like, to me, it's an interesting movie, but not everybody feels that way. But it is on Hulu. Next is the original Amityville Horror. I believe I saw the remake either on Prime or Netflix. I didn't write it down, but or that may have been last month. But the original is still on Hulu. I believe it was on there last month too, but they still have it on there. I like the original a lot. It's a little bit slower paced of a movie compared to the remake that they did, but I enjoy it. I think it's a good movie. It's well cast. James Brolin is in it. He's an amazing actor. It's just good. Like I said, it's slower, and it was made in the 70s, so it's not going to be for everybody. But if you've never seen it, it's worth watching if you like the story. The Midnight Meat Train, which is on my lists here for my other ones, Prime. A couple of these from Hulu are on Prime. So if you don't have Prime, I thought I would include a couple of these because some people just have Hulu. They're not like us where we've got multiple streaming services. So yeah, The Midnight Meat Train is also on Hulu. So like I said, if you don't have Prime and you have Hulu, it's one of my favorite movies. I really, really like it a lot. It's a good movie. I forgot the guy's name that stars in it. I remembered it when I was filming Prime, but Bradley Cooper. It was right before his career blew up, and he's phenomenal in it. It's a good movie. So yeah, like I said, if you don't have Prime and you have Hulu and you are interested in watching it, it's on Hulu. And also Case 39 is on Hulu, which was also on my Prime list. Renee Zellweger, it's a supernatural. She plays a social worker. It's a supernatural-ish movie. Again, it's really good. I'm just going to let that kind of soak in. I think that's what I'm going to do on camera. Maybe some lip balm. So that's on there. Like I said, I figured I would include a couple that were on both just because I know not everybody has everything. The ABCs of Death is now on Hulu. It was on Netflix several months ago because that's where I watched it. It's now on Hulu. It's an anthology movie. It's worth watching if you've never seen it. It's a little bit on the gorier side. And I believe, if memory serves, it's been a while since I watched it because I saw it a few years ago. It's one of those Netflix brings back frequently. It has subtitles. So if that doesn't bother you, I'm not a fan of subtitles in horror movies. I don't watch many. It's not that I have anything against foreign films, and I've talked about this in other videos, I believe. It's something with horror movies where I feel like it's distracting and can take away to the plot to have them, which is why I've never watched the original Grudge because it has subtitles. But this one's not bad because it's an anthology, so they're short. So if you don't mind subtitles, it's well done. Monster Squad is also on Hulu. Again, it's on Prime. One of my all-time favorite movies. Like I said, I grew up watching it as a kid, so it's very nostalgic for me. It's a good movie if you have children. It's rated PG-13, so there are a couple of scenes that are a little bit more violent. But if you have younger kids, it's definitely like to dip their toe in the water to kind of see how they take monsters. The original Children of the Corn is on Hulu. I included it. It's a classic. It was a good story. I like Stephen King's short stories better than I like his novels just because he's kind of a long-winded man. Like I said, nothing against his writing style, but he can be a little long-winded. So I do enjoy his short stories better. But yeah, the original Children of the Corn is a classic. The remake wasn't bad, but I am a fan of the originals. Odd Thomas, which I guess is kind of a horror movie. I mean, it's horror-ish themed. It's not like scary. It's based on a Dean Koontz novel. It starred Anton Yelchin. Probably not pronouncing his last name correctly. He was Chekhov in Star Trek. He passed away a few years ago, but he is in it, and it is a good movie. It's worth watching. I included it because it has supernatural elements to it, but it's not a full-on like scary movie. Pumpkinhead 1 and 2, I combined in the same line. Pumpkinhead and then Pumpkinhead 2 Blood Wings, both very good. I believe there are 4 or 5 Pumpkinhead movies now. They're one of those that they, for some reason, just started making direct-to-video sequels. The second movie came out in the 90s. The first movie was made in the 80s. And then there weren't any. And then all of a sudden, which I thought was kind of odd, that like sci-fi started putting out Pumpkinhead movies. But the first 2 are good. And I actually prefer the second one over the first one just because the first one's a little bit slower. But special effects are phenomenal. I'm a fan of the Pumpkinhead aesthetic. I used to have a figurine of him in my room when I was in high school. I had like a horror-themed pink bedroom. Fun fact, if anybody cares about that. But I had a Pumpkinhead figure, so I'm very fond of the aesthetic of him. So those movies are both on Hulu. And like I said, they're the better ones out of the series because I don't know why they just decided to start making more of those, but whatever. 7 is on Hulu, and it's not necessarily a horror movie, but it's a thriller, and it's a very good psychological thriller. It stars Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. Awesome, awesome movie, and it's one of those, it's still good even when you find out the ending. I watched it multiple times. I love the psychological thriller, so I figured I would include it because it's not a full-on horror movie, but there are horrific scenes in it. So if you're squeamish, special effects are very well done, and it is a little bit grotesque in some parts. It is about a serial killer who kills people based on the 7 deadly sins, if you've never seen it. So it's very interesting. Like I said, Brad Pitt does a phenomenal job. Morgan Freeman's fabulous in everything that he does. So yeah, it's definitely worth watching if you've never seen it. Hulu has started doing these Into the Dark films. They're horror movies. They're only about an hour and 10 minutes. Like they're not super long, but they're really good. There's a bunch of them on there. I've seen 6 of them. I haven't watched all of them yet. But the ones that I've seen are really, really good. So if you have Hulu, and they're made specifically for Hulu, it's like they're horror I don't know. They're made for Hulu. School Spirit, some kids in detention, they start getting picked off. Flesh and Blood is about a girl who has agoraphobia and she lives at home, and then she starts to think that her dad might be a serial killer. Treehouse, I started watching. I didn't finish that. New Year, New You. Group of girls get together for their high school reunion and again start getting picked off. The Body is about a hitman and it's like Halloween, and he's like trying to dispose of a body. And then Down, 2 people trapped for the weekend in an elevator at their office building. Down, Flesh and Blood are probably my 2 most favorite. The rest of them were good, but Flesh and Blood and Down, probably, if you were going to watch 2 first, would be my recommendations out of those 6. But yeah, there's a bunch of them. I think there's 10. Like I said, I haven't gotten through all of them yet, but it's nice that they're not super long, so you're not committed. My daughter's like 18 months, so I have put a couple of them on because she's not watching them super intently. When she gets a little bit bigger, obviously I won't be able to do that, but it's nice that they're short, so I can watch it and then put something on else for her, and I'm not like committing to an hour and a half or 2 hours. So those are on there too. And at first I was like, what are these? But they are very, very good. So those are my recommendations for what is on Hulu right now. Hopefully, it wasn't too boring. Leave me your recommendations down below if there's other things that you've been watching on Hulu that I didn't mention. Next month, I can start including TV shows too. I've just been doing movies on all the services, but there are horror TV shows on all the streaming services, so I can start including those as well next month. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, please hit that subscribe button down below, and hopefully I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.